Hi, this is Charlotte and today we're going to be looking at the basics of how to use patterns. My favourite patterns to use are Simplicity, who are one of the many companies who do patterns. Other good ones to use are Butterick and McCall's. There are also a couple of other pattern companies, including Berger, but I find theirs quite difficult to use. Pretty much all patterns have a costume section, all pattern companies do, so it's worth checking them out. And I'll put a link in my description for a good website to get your patterns if you're from the UK. First thing you need to remember when buying a pattern is to make sure you check the sizes and make sure you get something that actually has your size, or you're going to be in a bit of trouble. Simplicity patterns usually come with 2 instruction sheets in English and sometimes 1 in Spanish, so if you're Spanish that's helpful, otherwise you can get rid of that, it's just got the same material as the English ones. I'll do a different tutorial on how to alter patterns, but for now, if you're using one of the exact things, or most of an exact part, it will show you the different patterns that come with it. And then here, we've got the different pieces for all the different patterns. So here it's got front A, B. So 1 will be the front piece with both blouse and blouse A and blouse B. So a good thing to do, either cut out all your patterns first or just focus on one piece at a time. It's good to get everything cut out at the start, so you find all, if you're making blouse A for example, you'll find all the pieces with blouse A on the pattern sheets, which will also come in your little pattern packet. A lot of the time patterns will come with, for example, this is the piece we needed for the blouse. There'll be a good few pieces like this. You need to make sure you get them on with your size, and if you're making something like a blouse or a fitted dress and you're a girl or you have boobs, then you want to make sure you get the right cup size as well. So this one would be a D cup for anyone for size 12 to 20. So if you are a size 14 with a D cup, then you cut out this at size 14. If you check, you've got the different cuttings here. So you just cut along the 14 line, which the 14 should be directly under. When you cut it out, you don't need to do it exact straight away, just cut the shape out roughly. And then when you get it onto the material, that's when you decide what to cut. Patterns will always tell you how much you need to cut of that particular pattern. This one says cut to, so the best thing to do is fold your material in half, put that on the folded thing, and then we cut it out. Of course, first you need to pin it on, so with the pins, just put it near to the line. That's a rubbish pin, I'm sorry. Put the pin as near to the line as possible, and just put it through the material and back up. And you do that all the way around. You'll often see these little triangles. On Simplicity they'll always look like these inside clear triangles. On other patterns sometimes they might be filled in or sticking out. It's always the same. If there's some sort of triangle or diamond on the edge of your pattern, it means you cut a little notch outwards. Just cut a little triangle. I'm not going to cut this because I don't want to waste my material, but at some point maybe I'll show you how to do that. And that just helps you match pieces up, so remember to do that. On patterns you also sometimes have little circles. You'll see here it shows you the different sizes. This is for something called a dart, which again I'll cover in a different video. But just remember when you're doing the pattern, a good thing to do is mark this by doing a few loose threads through it, and then do it along the same lines. So there'll be a few circles, and again this is for fitted clothes. You won't have these on all your patterns. If they're not on your patterns, don't freak out, because it just means you don't need them, which is probably a good thing. So I don't know if you can see this properly, but sometimes it will say something like cut to a fabric and cut to interfacing. Interfacing comes in a range of different thicknesses, but it always looks something like this. It's a thick white material that you use to stiffen your fabric. So when you cut 2 of the fabric out, then just do this exactly the same with the interfacing. Sometimes a pattern will have a different instruction, like cut 1 unfold or cut 2 unfold. There will be an edge when arrow pointing, and that points to the folded edge that you don't cut. When you cut 1 unfold, you just cut round everywhere else except for that. For cut 2 unfold, either do that twice or double fold your material and do it once. Your pattern instructions will tell you which page they are, so this is page 1 out of 4. And each one will tell you so you can make sure you're doing everything in the right order. Sometimes your patterns will tell you a good way to cut all your different pieces and how much material you'll need, so it's worth looking at that. You don't have to follow this, but if you're just starting out, it could help you. If you're new to patterns, there might be a few words you're not used to, or a few terms. Some of them I'll be going over in other videos, but some of them I can talk you over now. For example, where it tells you to stay stitch, that's just a reinforced stitching, just to make sure your material doesn't fray. For a lot of cosplay you don't really need to do this, especially if you've got good material, so if you want you can ignore them. Again, darts and hems I'll be going over in a different video. Interfacing we've talked about. Edge stitching is just a very fine stitch along the edge, and I'll be going over more of how to do stitching and using a sewing machine again in another tutorial. The instructions are all pretty straightforward other than that. They'll have numbers and orders as well as pictures, and it will show you what you have to do. And some companies actually have a difficulty rating on the front of their pattern. So if you're starting out, go for the 1s and 2s. Sometimes a pattern will have bits where you've got sleeves A and sleeves B, so make sure you're looking at the right one. So if you see something with sleeves, don't just follow it, because if you're doing the other sleeve, that will just mess it up. Sometimes a pattern will say cut 1 of fabric and cut 1 of contrast fabric. So basically you cut 1 on one colour and 1 of another, and usually that'll be for something like a cuff, where you have a different colour on the outside and the inside. This is the first tutorial in a range of videos I'm hoping to do, so if you have any ideas for tutorials you want me to do, if you're on YouTube, put it in the comments. If you see me on Tumblr, send me an ask. On Facebook, send me a message. Okay. I hope that helped at least a bit for people who are trying to get to grips with patterns. And if there's anything I didn't cover, just tell me and I'll try and cover it in another video. Bye!